Hey everybody. I just want to check in with you about your research, writing, and your note taking because I have looked through your notes and I have some quick comments I would like to make. So, first of all, as you know, we started our first step was to do your pre-writing and brainstorming. That's the first step in the research process, coming up with a question, narrowing it down to a thesis, and coming up with some subtopics. So from there, you shouldn't just start writing. Some of you guys have just started your draft right away, but you're skipping an important step, and that step is to start collecting evidence and taking notes, just like we did with the group research paper. So here is an example of notes from one of the group research papers. These notes were very strong, they were well organized, and what I really love about it is that you can see that they incorporate a variety of evidence under each subtopic, which is absolutely essential because some of you guys are only including notes from one source under each subtopic. So imagine you would see all red here from Don't Blame the Eater. Red, 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 red. No, you don't want to do that. You want to have different sources, use information from different sources in each paragraph if you can. You really just shouldn't only be taking a whole source and applying it to a paragraph. One source, one paragraph. No, you want to integrate it and also include your essay. Okay, so here you have the thesis statement, and then you're going to divide it up into subtopics. You are collecting your evidence. I also noticed that a lot of people are just copying and pasting big blocks of quotes. So you want to make sure that you are not, copying and pasting from the sources. You want to carefully choose the evidence, make sure it matches your subtopic, and you can take bits and pieces, right? Either paraphrase the information or take a quote, but you don't want to only have big blocks of quotes, right? You're not just copying and pasting from different sources. Some of you guys have done that, and that's not what you want. You need to read carefully, choose specific evidence, and put it into your own words like they did right here. This is their own words, okay? And lastly, as you can see my note up here, you need to look at the evidence you've collected and think about why you're including it. So what type of evidence is it? Is it a fact? Is it Einstein evidence? Is it example evidence? We've got some examples down here, right? You want a variety of different types of evidence. Einstein, undocumented, example, fact, and then think about the purpose like they did here. And this is why they got 100% on their research notes. Does it lend authority to your claim? Does it give background information? Does it give a counter argument? Does it explain or define a concept? So you're not just copying and pasting evidence haphazardly. You're really thinking about the evidence you're choosing, organizing it, and really understanding the purpose it'll serve in your paper. So I've posted this example research notes on the Moodle, and feel free to take a look at it and spend time on it, because once you have your notes organized, it's going to flow when it comes to writing your draft. So you'll see there's a subtopic for marketing techniques. Again, different types of evidence from different sources. The different sources, the different colors reflect different sources. So you want different colors to be appearing. And let's go down to the bottom here, which is where you have your working bibliography and you're writing down the source, the author's name, the title, the HTML, the URL, sorry, the date of publication. This is important in setting you up for your bibliography and for your citations. And something actually came up where I noticed that a couple of the sources being used were not credible. So anything you find from the library database is fine. However, you need to be really careful with the internet sources you find, the ones you just find on Google, because some of you are finding some sources that cannot be used in your research paper because they're not legitimate sources. That's why I have this got credibility form here. And this is where you evaluate the source. So for any source you find on Google, you need to be able to answer these questions. Okay, especially, does it have an author? Does the author have credibility in the field he is providing information about? Is the author associated with an institution, an organization, or a company? Is there any bias, right? So is the information current? All of these different questions. If you see spelling or grammar errors, that's not going to be credible. So you're evaluating the source based on these criteria here, and you have to really make sure that it's legitimate, or else it's going to totally discount your research. That means it's going to make your own research paper not believable or valid. So here's a source that somebody was using. The difference between fast food, junk food, and street food. So this looks okay, but the first of all, I'm thinking, look at all the advertisements, because on government or institutional websites, you don't really see these kind of advertisements along the side. Kind of makes me think that this is maybe a blog, right? Um, it looks like it could be credible, but I want to look into the author. Okay, who is this author? So I click on her name, and let's see if this comes up. Okay, so it looks like she joined this. It's an online community. She joined 4 years ago. She's a published writer and photographer. She writes literary magazines and newspapers. She published the children's picture book Caribbean Princess. She also writes and directs plays for Woodmont United Church of Christ. So is this woman who is writing about fast food and junk food a credible author, a credible source for my paper? No, she isn't. Her research and she has a bachelor's of science and biology, and her work, that does not qualify her to be a food expert. Okay, so this this website would not be credible. I cannot use this woman's information. I'm sure she has some good information, but it's not going to be a suitable source for an MLA style research paper. Okay, this is more of a blog type website. She doesn't have any citations. We don't know where her food is coming from. It's probably her own personal experience, and I cannot rely on it. Okay, so if you're questioning the website that you find on Google, you need to fill out this form. And any website you find online, you need to use this form for. And that will help you determine if it's credible or not. And if you have any second guesses at all, please consult. Okay, so please take your time with your research notes. Before you start writing your draft, you should have them complete. You should have at least 4 sources, and you should use a variety of sources and a variety of different types of evidence: facts, statistics, examples, okay? And once you finish your notes, then you can start your outline and your draft. So your notes, I'm going to probably be grading them this weekend, Friday or Saturday, so make sure they're complete by then. If you are done with your notes, then you can get started on your draft and make sure to save that in your folder. Again, if you have any questions or comments, please contact me. You guys should all have comments on your note taking and your pre-writing, so you can take a look at those. They're from me as well. And you can respond to me directly on your um, notes in the comments section, and I'll get an email so I can write you back. So you can contact me that way as well. All right, good luck, and I hope to see some completed and solid notes this week.